Hello and welcome to Gundog Nation. This is Kenneth Witt and I'm coming to you from Texas. I want you to know that Gundog Nation is more than just a podcast. It's a movement to unite those who want to watch a well-trained dog do what it's bred to do. Also, we are set out to try to encourage youth to get encouraged in the sport of gun dogs, whether it's hunting, competition, trials, hunt tests, all the above. This is a community of people that are united to preserve our heritage of gun dog ownership and also to be better gun dog owners. So if you'll stay tuned to all of our episodes, we're going to have people on here to educate you about training, about nutrition, health, anything that can make you a better gun dog owner. It's my pleasure to welcome our listeners, and please join our community. Purina Pro Plan. Here at Gundog Nation, we use Purina Pro Plan for our dogs. We actually use the Sport Performance Edition, which is 30% protein and 20% fat, the beef and bison. It contains glucosamine, omega-3s for their joints. It also contains amino acids for muscles and antioxidants. And it also has probiotics. It's guaranteed to have live probiotics in each serving. There's no artificial colors or flavors. We see the difference in our dogs. We see the difference in their coat, their performance, their endurance, and also in recovery. Be sure to use Purina Pro Plan dog food. The reputation speaks for itself. There's a reason that Purina has been around for such a long time. We suggest that you use it, and we are so proud to be sponsored by Purina Dog Food. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Gundog Nation. We're back with a new episode. This was really important. All dog owners, not just gun dog owners, needs to pay attention to this. We always try to do a segment every so often, and sometimes more often than not, if the need rises, about dog, animal health and things that can actually, harm or even, be fatal to your pet. So today we're going to do something that we've kind of done this before. We've actually stole people from this university before to talk to. I'm coming to you live from the ranch in Fort McCavick, Texas, and my guest is also in Texas. But I'll give her a little introduction, then we'll let her introduce herself. Rachel has a PhD from A&M. I'm going to let her tell you what that's in, and now she's a fourth-year vet student graduating in May, and she's going to talk about something that's really affecting animals all across the United States. And let's just get into that, Rachel. Tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, I'm Rachel. Like Ken said, a fourth-year vet student. I earned my PhD from Texas A&M a couple years ago in ecology and evolutionary biology. But a lot of my time was spent with hunting dogs, kind of researching this disease, Chagas disease.
So is it fair to say, Rachel, you were actually studying this disease we're going to talk about prior to going to vet school as a grad student?
Yeah, I was. I was introduced to the disease in 2018 when I came down to Texas to do my grad program.
And tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Nebraska. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska.
Now, I've been through Omaha. Being from there, did you grow up hunting or farming, or what's your background?
Yeah, I grew up in the suburbs. My dad grew up on a farm, so I grew up going to my grandparents' farm. But no, the whole hunting culture was new to me when I came down to Texas.
Nice. Well, what do you think of it so far?
It's been a little wild. I think the hunting ranches here in Texas are so much different than what I thought of as ranches in Nebraska.
Yes.
Just with the size and the scale of these managed properties, with huge populations of hunting dogs used as working dogs. It's been really cool.
And Rachel, that's a great segue. Let's dive into that, because when I talked to you on the phone, you were educating me as much as you could about this. You told me that a lot of your studies you started at hunting ranches where there were large populations of dogs. Expound on that, please.
Yeah. So I came kind of into a project where we had kind of a network of different hunting dog kennels. These people have between like 14 and over 100 dogs that live on property and are used for different hunting parties by different kind of guides on these large ranches where there's managed property. They have native and exotic hoof stock that are hunted. And they create these hunting experiences.
And now, were a lot of these dogs? I have a hunting ranch too, Rachel. I think I might have told you that, but were a lot of these dogs just blood tracking dogs for wounded game, or what all did you find, breed wise?
Yeah, it depends. One was a hound dog, like they treat cats.
Okay.
Another would be a mix of your labs and hounds and like your pointers, your spaniels. So
Bird
some
dog
of them had
stuff.
a really good mix. Some were more specialized.
Okay. Interesting. So tell me what you did.
Yeah, we specifically this project, we went around kind of over the course of a year. We wanted to see how the disease develops over time, because Chagas disease can cause different symptoms, mostly heart related in dogs. But we wanted to look kind of over time, how are the hearts of dogs changing in both dogs that are infected and the not infected.
Okay.
And so we went and sampled blood from dogs, did like Holter monitors, which monitor kind of the electrical activity of the heart.
Kind of like an EKG, something
Exactly,
similar.
an EKG. Yep.
Okay.
We leave it on for 24 hours, so we get a really long picture of what's going on.
And what did you find? What did you find in the heart rhythm of dogs that were infected, as opposed to normal dogs?
Yeah. One thing that was surprising was a lot of the dogs had some sort of abnormality. Some of that is just because they're really athletic working dogs. And that's different than kind of your normal population of couch potatoes mixed with the really active dogs. Um, but specifically, we saw very subtle changes in kind of their heart electrical activity over the year, some that were slightly different than in positive dogs than negative dogs.
Is the heart the only organ that's affected by Chagas? Did I say that correctly? Chagas.
Yeah, you did. In
Thank
dogs,
you. You spelled
yeah.
it for me. So the heart was the organ that was affected. Was there any other organs or any other problems caused by it?
In dogs, no. Most of the signs we see are heart related.
Okay.
But one thing, all these dogs were asymptomatic. Like owners couldn't tell anything was wrong with them.
Wow. So is there a way now when you go into just your regular vet, maybe in a small town, to detect it, to diagnose it? How do you know it?
Yeah. Yeah. So when a dog is infected, they mount an immune response. And so we can take a blood sample, and there's a test that you can have done that'll test for the antibodies to the parasite. They'll test for like the body's reaction to it. And once a dog's infected, they're always infected with the parasite. And so if they come up positive, then it indicates that they were exposed at some point and likely have the parasite somewhere in their body.
Okay. Is this detected on a normal parasite test, like worms and stuff, heartworms and things, or no?
They're all different tests. So this one, you'd have to take a blood. There's nothing easy in clinic.
Okay.
So they'd have to take a blood sample, send it to a diagnostic lab, and then they would run a test for it.
Okay. But your local vet shop is not going to pick this up. Is that fair to say?
They would have to know to look for it.
Okay.
And we were talking like more and more people are recognizing when to look for it, especially in the southern U.S. where we're seeing it a lot more commonly.
Why is that, do you think? Is it mosquitoes? What's the host or the carrier, I guess, is something I should ask.
Yeah. So Chagas disease, the parasite is spread by a kissing bug. And these are relatively large insects. They can be up to an inch long, but they have to feed on blood. And so they can pick up the parasite from a mammal that's infected. And then they spread the parasite onto another animal through their feces. So unlike a mosquito or tick, where like when the bug bites you, you become infected, the kissing bug would have to poop. And then that poop would have to either go into the bite site, or we think a lot more commonly in dogs, like a bored dog will eat a bug. And since the parasite's in the bug, they can become infected that way too.
Oh, wow. Is that why you're studying larger concentration, where dogs are in larger concentration, like at these ranches and stuff?
Yes, that is a big reason why we're studying them there. We also found that dogs at these kennels can have a really high risk of getting disease. So we collected blood samples and ran those tests to test for the parasite, and found over 25% of the negative dogs that we were monitoring actually became positive in that year, which was much higher than I was expecting.
Wow. I guess there's that many dogs together, one dog gets it, and it just spreads so easy that way, correct? Or is that what you seems to find?
Yeah, it spreading from one dog to another dog doesn't really happen. But if there are kissing bugs there,
Okay.
if one dog encountered a kissing bug, then another dog in that same environment also has a high chance of interacting.
Now, this may be a crazy question, and you're going to laugh at me. Let's say a dog's infected,
Yeah.
and for some reason, whatever, it bites another dog. Can it be transmitted that way, like say rabies or something?
No, it can't be.
Good. Okay.
Yes, that's very good.
Is there, I have kennels obviously too, and then I use bleach religiously. Matter of fact, most of my pants have huge white spots on them because I'm always bleaching. What can you do to help prevent? I assume you got to do something to get rid of those bugs, but what are you all doing to help fight off this problem? Or what you suggest, I guess.
Yeah, it is a challenging disease because it's spread by kissing bugs. And when we go looking in the kissing bugs, a lot of them are infected. And so we don't have drugs that will prevent infection.
Okay.
And so the best way to prevent infection is to keep the bugs away.
Okay.
But even kennels that do an immaculate job, like an excellent job at spraying insecticides, trying to manage the bug populations, we can still see cases in their dogs. And so we are trying to figure out, like, are there ways we can trap kissing bugs, coming up with a kissing bug trap, or flea and tick prevention. We've done studies to show it kills kissing bugs, but the kissing bugs still have to feed on a treated dog. And so does it make a difference? We're looking into that. And then looking into, like, what drugs can we develop that would either prevent it or treat it.
Do you feel like that those kissing bugs are attracted to larger concentrated areas of dogs more so than just somebody's got one dog or two?
Yeah. Here in the United States, another thing that makes it hard is the kissing bugs are wild. And so they live off in the wilds. They're feeding on coyotes and raccoons and living their happy lives. And occasionally we find them around our homes because adults fly to find blood meals or to find a mate. And we think at these larger kennels, if they're in the right space where kissing bugs are around, they provide kind of a consistent blood meal for kissing bugs. We know that kissing bugs are attracted to CO2, so like breathing. That's like the lore about how they got their name, is people would wake up to bites around their face because they smell the breathing. They can be attracted to different light sources. And so changing lights outside of kennels to like a red wavelength or something that doesn't attract kissing bugs, people have tried.
Well, I sit here and think, Rachel, about my ranch here, and I've got a hunting ranch with exotics, and I have small amount of cattle, but mostly exotic animals and dogs. So that's probably a hotbed, right? Livestock and dogs for attracting kissing bugs, or
we know they're out there, and we know they often live like in wood rats' nests or somewhere. Because the immature stages of the kissing bugs can't fly. And so they have to live in an area where they are guaranteed to have some sort of food source.
Okay.
And luckily, we don't see a lot of those in kennel environments.
Okay.
Those are normally out by wood rats' nests. And when you're on a hunting ranch, you can't control wood rats' nests.
Wow.
So just having a lot of area that is wild, there are kissing bugs around.
And you're saying it's the cases of dogs are more concentrated in the southern United States. Is it because it's warmer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's related to where the kissing bugs live. And so kissing bugs live all through Latin America, South America, and then up through about midway through the United States. We have cases from Nebraska and Delaware, but they're definitely highest concentrations in kind of Texas and Louisiana in the southern states.
Does the infection react differently in different dogs, different breeds? Is it fatal?
Good question.
Or can it be fatal? I guess what I should ask.
Yes. Unfortunately, Chagas disease, the parasite, can cause fatal infections. We see kind of a couple different phases of infection. There's the acute stage right after an animal has been exposed to the parasite. And sometimes that parasite goes into the heart tissue and causes so much damage that we see acute death. And those are just such sad stories from kennel owners saying, like, we took our dog out to run, ran great, brought him back, was grabbing the food, came back to find he had had a heart attack, and diagnosed with Chagas disease all in the heart. But other dogs get out of that phase just fine and kind of enter a chronic stage where some of them will go on to develop heart problems related to the damage the parasite does. Others will go on and never show any signs.
Do you have numbers on how many deaths a year occur in the United States from this disease or this infection?
I wish we did. That is somewhere that we still have room to grow in what we know. Like, we look at these kennels and shelter populations of dogs, and dogs like along the US-Mexico border in the colonias in Texas. And we see relatively high rates of infection. But like we've talked about, these dogs may be at higher risk of getting infected. Like a study out of North Texas recently kind of screened just your average dog that lives at home, and 2% of them were infected, where we can find 50% of dogs in kennels or in shelters infected with the parasite. And that doesn't mean all of them show clinical signs or ever will be affected by the disease, but some of them will. We don't have good numbers to know how many. So we're still learning a lot.
And gosh, no, Rachel, please don't think I'm trying to be a veterinarian, but it seems that ivermectin is the strongest killer of parasites, ivermectin. Does it have no effect on this parasite?
I don't know if we know that. I know they have done a lot of work. And in humans, it's more the fungal medications, actually, that treat this parasite, Trypanosoma cruzi. They use two different drugs are used in human medicine. I haven't heard of any ivermectin being successful. Ivermectin doesn't really kill kissing bugs.
Now, maybe you've told me this, but I don't know the answer. So this can't be contracted to humans, can it? Or
humans do get Chagas disease. Okay. Those I have numbers for. There's thought to be like 6 to 8 million humans infected with the parasite throughout the world, most of them in Latin America, where we see a lot of kissing bugs.
Wow. Interesting. I've never heard of this before until y'all reached out to me, and that's crazy. So obviously this parasite's been around a very long time. At least medical science has been aware of this for how long, you think?
Yeah, it was discovered in 1909 by a man named Carlos Chagas, and he found it in a human, and then found it in kissing bugs, and then found it in animals, So we knew all of those parts could be involved. But we've just learned more and more. And in the past 15 years, we've really seen how big of a problem it is here in the US, especially in our dogs.
Is it fatal to humans, or has there cases of that?
It can be. Humans experience similar phases of disease to dogs. The acute signs aren't normally so bad, but it can go on in the chronic phases to cause heart problems, but also GI problems in humans.
Wow. Again, do you see that a lot? And as far as the U.S. cases in humans, you see it more in the South than in the North, Midwest, or?
Yeah, in humans, there's thought to be around 300,000 humans in the US infected. Most of those infections are people who have traveled to the United States, so lived in Latin America and have come to the United States. We do have some locally acquired cases, and those come from southern states, Texas, Florida.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt, and Gundog Nation is proud to have one of their sponsors as Retriever Training Supply, based in Alabama. Retriever Training Supply offers fast shipping on quality gear. Your dog will love it. Visit retrievertrainingsupply.com to purchase gear to help you train your retriever. Listen, they have some of the best leashes I've ever found. It's stuff's made in America. Their leashes are, and they source them locally. They have anything you want, fast, friendly service, fast shipping, just good people. Retriever Training Supply. Now, I had some of your colleagues on here regarding the Drake Project.
Yes.
This kind of sounds similar in that the detection of that, I can't not say that word. Please say it for me, for the listeners.
Heterobilharzia?
Yes, that word. The trick of that was trying to detect it, right? That your average vet doesn't have the capabilities to detect it. This kind of sounds similar, is it? And I know you've told me how to detect it, but they've got, your vets have to know what to look for, right? And the blood has to be sent off. It can't be done in most local vet shops.
Right. There's no test that is like a heartworm test that they can run in the back and tell you the result.
Okay.
And our testing is not perfect. It's like we're working on developing other diagnostic tests that would help us identify infections.
Now, is A&M, like the Drake Project? To my knowledge, A&M was the only school, or the school in the United States that was, in charge of or in front of this movement. Is this the same for this Chagas?
I don't want to speak completely, but yeah, my advisor, Sarah Hamer, who I did my PhD with, she started a community science program back in 2012. And she's not the first one in the United States to work on Chagas disease, but her work has spearheaded kind of this increase in awareness and research in the United States on Chagas disease. And so in 2012, she started a community science program where people anywhere in the US, if you find a kissing bug, you can collect it safely, submit it to our lab, and we will test it for the parasite.
Okay.
And so through that, we have a collection of almost 10,000 kissing bugs from 30 states, maybe.
And of those taken, do you know the stats on how many of those were positive?
I know in Texas, in most of the places we look, about 50% of the kissing bugs are positive.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So half the kissing bugs are going to carry this parasite.
Yes.
Wow. Well, that's alarming. So let's get into this then. So I assume, because you and I spoke before we got on air about grants and the grants you all applied for, like with the Drake Project, I think the AKC gave some money to that project. I don't know about the UKC, but are any of these agencies helping you, or organizations, or government funding?
Yeah, the AKC has been amazing. The study that I talked about in the beginning was an AKC funded study.
Okay.
And they funded other work to look more at insecticides. Like if we apply them around kennels, if we give them to dogs, what do they do? We're being funded for drug studies from Department of Defense, with NIH funding as well as AKC.
Okay.
And so we're seeing support from these grant agencies for the work that we're doing, which is affirming that people would want to invest in this work, specifically in dog populations.
Yes. Yeah. This is something that's not just dog. I mean, this is people too. It can cause, sounds like some pretty damaging results. You may have answered this when I asked you a while ago, but has any human died from this parasite, that like heart failure or anything like that you know of?
I can't think of any specific example, but I do know that Chagas disease causes disease in people. And yes, is like the cause of death at some points due to the heart disease or like morbidity, just struggles because it causes GI problems that then people have to live with chronically.
Wow. This is it's kind of overwhelming. But I'm so glad to have you on here educating people, including myself, about this. So what next?
Yeah. I would love to someday be able to say we have a way to treat it.
Yes.
It is a challenging system, and figuring out a way to either find a drug that would be like a heartworm prevention, like you give it and it prevents disease, or even prevents severe disease. Like if we know dogs are getting infected, but we can stop them from showing clinical signs, like ever getting sick, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Or if we could give a drug that then cures them, gets rid of the parasite with minimal side effects through treatment. So those are things that we're working on now.
Are there other universities or even in other countries that you're aware of that's trying to help combat this epidemic, really?
Yeah. We have partners at University of Georgia who are working with us on some of these treatments. And then colleagues in Latin America, they, in a lot of respects, are 10 to 20 years ahead of us in research because it's such a big human disease problem where they are. And so thinking about like the flea and tick prevention, that was mostly seeing if it worked on our species because they had already done it and deployed it in kind of their setting to see how it would affect kissing bug populations. So there are.
No, I'm sorry. No, go ahead, please.
No, there are other universities working and trying to come up with different drug protocols that might work.
Just an academic question. Do you find that when you are doing stuff like this, that other universities or organizations or agencies that are studying this and looking for a cure, everybody's kind of free to exchange information and help each other? Does it seem like that? Everybody's on the same team, I guess?
Yeah. That gets into a little bit of the politics of academia. Yeah. And I've been kept a little bit out of that so far, just being a student. Yes. But generally, yes, there's tons of support. I think more about like the kissing bug collections. Like my advisor has been a part of talking to professors at least 2 other schools, 3 of starting their own community science submissions. And so not that we have to collect them all, but if we can help you start one in Illinois or Delaware or Florida, then let's please do that. Like there's so much work to be done that any way that we can help and work towards the same goals in different contexts is a huge win. So I've seen the product of that, which has been really positive.
So, Rachel, is it kind of safe to say that, I hate to generalize, and I know this is such a complex issue, but are there standard signs that you can look for in your dog for the listeners who are all of us are dog owners? Is there certain things that we should look for to be cognizant of, to think, oh, you know what, I better go have my dog checked out? What would you tell people like me?
Yeah. Number one, it's tricky. But there are some things that we have seen that may be a good reason to go get your dogs tested for the parasite. The acute disease is hard because sometimes they show no signs before it's really severe. But one of my colleagues did a study and found that dogs are more likely to be positive if they have a positive litter mate or housemate. And that, again, is because they're in similar environments. Not that they can pass it back and forth, but if one's exposed, then the other one is probably exposed.
High probability.
So that would be a reason to test animals. But also, if you have a dog that's just working a little bit less well or not running quite as well, they would be signs of just kind of general heart disease.
Like loss of stamina, loss of energy, common things like that maybe. Okay.
Yeah, and knowing that they live in the South, in an area where they have a lot of time outdoors, and knowing that kissing bugs are around, if you see kissing bugs on your property, that may make you think more about it as a possibility. But bringing it up as an option would not be.
I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you this, but I'm going to have to Google kissing bug. I'm not sure that I know what it looks like. I'm sure I've seen it, but
they're impressive bugs, and knowing that they feed on blood they're huge.
Ooh. I'm sure I've seen it. Well, maybe, hopefully I'm not, but I'm going to go look and see. So, because I'm not in true South Texas, but I'm 2 hours from San Antonio, which I guess that's South Texas, so yeah. So what do you suggest? Hopefully we got listeners on this podcast. Believe it or not, we're actually have been downloaded in 27 countries, which blows my mind. But what can people do that want to help? Can they donate? Can they, send kissing bugs into the university for testing? Tell the listeners what they can do and how they can go about doing that.
Yeah. You are absolutely welcome to submit kissing bugs. Our website to do that and to see kissing bug pictures and to read a little bit more about the kissing bugs and the parasite. It's kissingbug.tamu for Texas A&M University .edu. And there we have a map of locations of kissing bugs that have been submitted. We have information about our team if you wanted to reach out. There is a direct donate button on that page. But the biggest thing would be to raise awareness, to make sure that people are aware of this disease, especially because we see a lot of it in hunting dogs. And I also know hunting dogs travel. Like, I know some of the kennel owners we have come up to Nebraska for the summer when it's too hot to work down here. We've worked with like government working dogs that train in Texas and then are sent all over the country. And they can still, unfortunately, be infected because they were infected while they were here. And so it is a disease we see kind of throughout the U.S. And abroad. More common here, but dogs travel. So.
Just my dogs in the last 6 months have hunted Louisiana, Arkansas, South Dakota, Texas. I think that's it. But, plus we traveled across states to get to those states too, and they've trained in Alabama. So yeah, it's, wow. Well, you've really, the Drake Project opened my eyes about stuff that I've watched for my own dogs, but this is another thing to worry about, and to try to protect your animals and even ourselves. But, so I guess the takeaway is, if you see kissing bugs, number one, probably catch one, send it in the university. And let's just say I see maybe more of the kissing bugs on my property than I should, or I see them at all. And I've got quite a few animals and dogs. Should I where would I go to get those dogs tested? Correct. What would I do?
Yeah. I think talking with your veterinarian would be step number one.
Okay.
They're, yeah, they would have a much better idea of if they've seen other cases or like what the risk is locally. Other things you can consider, like while we don't have great answers, insecticides do kill kissing bugs. And turning off lights at night, reducing any attractants. Those are steps we can take to try and protect dogs.
Turning off lights at night. Never would have thought. See, just common sense like that. Never would have thought about that.
Well, the lights are supposed to be at night, right? But
yeah. So, if let's just say that I found kissing bugs, I feel like maybe I need to check because I've got a good dog population on the place. Should I ask my vet to send the blood off to a certain place for testing?
I know
or would the vet know?
The vet may know, and they may have a diagnostic lab that they call.
Okay.
Because it's like on campus, we use Texas Veterinary Medical Diagnostic Lab. And I know that they run the diagnostic test, but other labs do as well.
Okay. Yeah, my vet here in Menard, she's a country vet, but she knows her stuff, but she's an A&M grad, so I'm sure she's probably aware of this.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to her about it, though.
Yeah, I will say if you do collect a kissing bug, since the parasite's in the gut, we would recommend trying not to squish it, or if you do, use like a bleach-based cleaner afterwards.
Okay.
And to pick it up, don't use bare hands, but take like a plastic bag or a paper towel or something to pick it up.
Okay.
Yeah, that would protect you, but also the environment from just leaving the parasite there.
Now you've got me, my wheels are just turning. Like this weekend, I'm going to a hunt test actually in College Station. And I know there's 284 dogs registered there. And those dogs will have traveled from out of probably a good percentage from out of state. So, wow, that's something to think about now. Are you a dog owner?
Not currently, but I grew up with dogs.
I'm sure it's probably tough being a fourth-year vet student and then all your other activities you're doing with the university, such as this research project. So is you researched this when you were in grad school working on your PhD, correct?
Yeah, I did.
Did you do your dissertation on this?
I did. Yeah.
Did you?
I did. And it's a privilege. Like it's so, it's such a privilege to work with these owners and these dogs.
So how long did you have to work on your dissertation, and was it written or oral?
Yeah, it was, I spent 3 years before I started vet school and then another 2.5 years. And there's a large written component to it, but I also gave a couple talks about the work.
So you've got piles of work on this stuff then. It's
been a lot of fun, and there's still a lot of work to do. So, it's been absolutely.
Is it frustrating though, Rachel? I mean, I can see it some in your voice. I've asked you certain questions, and I know you want to tell me a better answer, but you can't, and I can just see the frustration. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, man, learning about this stuff is slower than I would like.
Yeah.
But I have hope that like there are answers. We just haven't found them yet. And working with people who are just as motivated to find the answers is encouraging, even when it gets hard. And I haven't found better people than like the people who own these dogs and who work them and train them.
Well, what I'm going to do, I'm starting to build the website with an email list of listeners and people that are interested in this stuff. So anytime you have a publication or something that you want to send as an attachment, I can send out to all the people that subscribe. I don't pay for it. I don't charge or anything for that. And just, educate our listeners, because you wouldn't believe the network of dogs. For example, you're if you get bored this weekend, roll out there to the dog trial, the dog test, and you're going to see a lot of. I mean, it's a big deal. So, gun dog owners, everybody loves their dogs, right? Pet owners, regular old house lap dogs, but gun dog owners are serious. You know, I mean, we spend a lot of money feeding our dogs the best, and it's a way of life. So I think this audience will be a great place to spread the word. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I believe it. That has been my interactions with people.
Well, that's right. You've worked with this ain't your first rodeo with a gun dog guy, right? You've been doing this for a while.
Since 2018.
Wow. Okay.
I would still have a lot to learn, though. I am not old hat at this. So.
Hey, I usually have trainers on here most of the time, and I learned and I've trained, and I'm probably older than your father, and I've been training since I was a kid. You know, not professionally, just fooling with dogs, and I learn every time on this show from people that I have. I love it. I think it's the best hobby in the world for me is just this podcast because I learned so much that I can take back and work with my own dogs. But
that's so good.
So I understand how you feel. Yeah. Well, Rachel, if you have any new developments in your research, especially something that's, worth getting out there, I'll have you back on anytime because, hey, this is, we have certain goals at this podcast that I have. One is to encourage young people to keep the sport alive and keep our heritage going. But the other thing is to make us all better gun dog owners, and nutrition and health is number one, right? If you don't have that, your dog is not going to feel like going to a hunt test or feel like hunting so it's important. It's extremely important. But thank you so much. I guess Kelly Curry's kind of gave me the lifeline to all these Texas A&M vets and vet students and vet faculty, and it's great. And I learned. So, was there anything else that you would like to tell the listeners before I let you go?
I mean, just to reiterate that the kissing bug is what spreads it in the poop. And not all dogs show clinical signs. Some of them, it's really tragic. And some can be managed with heart medications later in life. Then others show no signs ever. And we're still working on treatments and better recommendations for how to intervene and prevent infection. And yes, if we find anything, I will absolutely reach back out to you.
Yeah. And, Rachel, I was sitting here thinking you've actually dedicated a part of your life to this cause. I mean, your PhD, your dissertation, 4 years of vet school, you're still at it. So I admire you for that and appreciate that. I mean, that takes some perseverance. I mean, to me, I can see where it'd be easy to give up and move on to something else to study because it's so difficult, right? You don't have a cure. You don't have it's not your fault. And and the parasite can attack in so many different ways. A dog could fall dead. You never knew it had it. So you don't know what signs to look for. That has to be so frustrating. I mean, to me, I'm sitting here going, well, it's just, oh gosh, I just pray for a cure, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
I have hope that we'll find one, even if it takes longer than a PhD. Hope.
Well, thank you for your dedication. I mean, people like you is why, it's what improves our dogs' lives and the lifestyle of our dogs. So, I mean, really, I'm just sitting here thinking I'm not a real patient guy. And if I've sat and worked on something that many years, I would just be nuts. So you have to be a special person.
Well, thanks. But I learn something new every day too. And it's been an amazing place to be, to learn about the disease and work with people and dogs.
Well, Rachel, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And we will get. Oh, sorry. I thought my battery went dead. Sorry about that. So I'm going to plug this in 1 second before we go because my I'm doing this off my laptop, and I want to. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so Rachel, one last time, if they want to donate or read or find out more about kissing bugs and issues like that, or where they can send kissing bugs, that web address again is.
Yeah, it's Kissing Bugs. Let me pull it up to make sure I'm actually telling you the right thing. Oops. I mean, if you search, but yes, here we are. It's kissingbug.tamu.edu.
Okay. And there they can go on, they can donate, they can read, educate themselves more about it.
Yeah, that takes to the website for our community science program, but walks through kind of an overview, gives resources, pictures, a map, and then there's like question and answer kind of thing. And
I guess if you have updates, you're going to put it on that first thing probably, right?
We do put updates on here occasionally. It is harder to update than some other things. Okay. And so potentially putting it out on a listserv like you're putting together would actually get the information out faster.
Okay. But. All right. So I guess you're not going to holler, go Cornhuskers. You're an Aggie straight up.
Conflicted sometimes, but we don't play each other, so it's okay.
Yeah. You know, I've been here 13 years, but I'm a University of Kentucky grad, and I bleed blue. But you know, I live in Texas. It's I feel you. I know what that feels like. All right, Rachel, thank you so much, and maybe we'll have you on here again. Please keep us updated, and if there's anything worth that the listeners need to know, you reach out to me, and I'll get you back on here.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. We'll talk to you later. Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gundog Nation. Many people quickly become frustrated and confused when training the retriever. Cornerstone Gundog Academy's online courses eliminate all the guesswork by giving you a proven training system that will help you train a dog that anyone will be proud to have in their blind. Learn where to start, what to do next, and what to do when problems arise. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com to learn how you can train your retriever. I have used this method myself. I have been through it a couple times with different dogs. I refer back to it lots of times when I'm trying to get dogs freshened back up for hunt test season. I highly recommend them. I have actually been a subscribed member of Cornerstone Gundog Academy since 2016, and I would suggest anyone use it. I highly recommend it. They have an app that you can get to on your phone. You can do it from your phone, your laptop. You can't get any more convenient than that. I've used it. It's proven and tried. And I know literally hundreds of people that have done the same thing that I've talked to. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com and learn how to train your own retriever.